Good morning. Is this one? Yes. Oh, it is? Okay. So we are going to get started. Again, my name is Tanya Cantlow. I'm the Assistant Counsel to Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. And today is November 7th, 2018, our monthly Borough Service Cabinet meeting. We have one presentation today. I'm going to take the roll call and then turn it over to our presenters. Community Board 1, Gerald Esposito. Community Board 2, Robert Paris. Community Board 3, Henry Butler. Community Board 4, Celeste Leon. Present. Community Board 5, Melinda Perkins. Community Board 6. Community Board 7, Jeremy Loffer. Community Board 8, Michelle George. Community Board 9, Pat Baker. Community Board 10, Josephine Beckman. Community Board 11, Marnie Elias Pavia. Community Board 12, Barry Spitzer. Community Board 13, Eddie Mark. Community Board 14, Sean Elise Campbell. Community Board 15, Laura Singer. Present. Community Board 16, Viola Green Walker. Here. Community Board 17, Sharif Frazier. And Community Board 18, Dorothy Toronto. So our presenters today are from the New York City Department of Transportation. We have Rosa Rijos and Nicole Altmix, who will be discussing the pedestrian ramp initiative.
Good morning. Good morning. You guys want me to use the mic?
Please.
Okay. Good morning. Better?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for having me today. I'm here to tell you about a new program that we have at New York City DOT called the Pedestrian Ramp Program. And it's very important to DOT to understand that our assets are accessible for all New Yorkers, and particularly those with disabilities. And so we maintain a lot of assets here. Over 12,000 miles of sidewalk, 6,000 miles of roadway, and more than 162,000 corners. And pedestrian ramps at those corners provide access on and off the street so everybody can get there safely. So because our network is so large, we have to break it down into pieces in order for us to make enhancements. So what we're starting with is pedestrian ramps. So there's a lot of people that actually work on pedestrian ramps in the city. We've got New York City DOT ourselves. We have in-house crews that we work on through construction. We've got DDC, who also does construction on behalf of New York City DOT and other city agencies. There's other capital work, such as DEP, that has construction throughout the city. And then there's private developers and utility companies that also do work in the city's right-of-way. So this program that we're building consists of architects and engineers and outreach folks and some budget people. And what we're doing is we are building a program specifically dedicated to assessing the pedestrian ramps throughout the city. We also have inspectors and construction crews to help us upgrade and inspect the construction of these locations. So what we're doing is we're hiring over more than 400 people and looking for more than 600,000 square foot of office space so that we can make all of our ramps accessible and ADA compliant throughout the city. We've also got an extensive outreach plan. We're coordinating work with other divisions and programs at DOT. We're also working with our sister agencies to make sure people that touch the right-of-way also understand how to make these ramps compliant. And we've also got a dedicated outreach team to attend community events, talk to you guys, and just generally outreach with the public. We just launched a new website. It's at nycpedramps.info. we're going to have information about the work that we're doing, the survey that we're currently undergoing, and technical resources and information about how to find more information about the ped ramps throughout the city. So right now, we're currently in the process of a comprehensive survey where we're looking at every single ramp throughout the city. And we're taking measurements, and we're looking to see which ones are compliant and which ones are not compliant and need upgrades or installations. We're looking at more than 320,000 ramps throughout the city, and those can be on corners, on mid-block, crossings, on medians, on islands. We're taking a comprehensive look throughout the city. So we're using a specific technology called LiDAR, which is a company that's helping us take images throughout the city, and then they use a methodology to help calculate whether or not those are ADA compliant. And so we're hoping to complete this survey next year, fall or later in the year, and we'll have an understanding of which ramps need to be upgraded or constructed. And so what we're doing after we get that data is we are going to figure out how we can direct the work. And so there's, like I said before, there's some work that we can perform in-house, and then there's some work that will have to go to DDC for capital construction. And we're trying to do a full prioritization analysis so that we can direct that work, and so we can keep on pace to finish these ramps on a timely fashion. So the way that we are going to focus on upgrading the ramps is we are going to follow resurfacing. So anywhere that gets resurfaced throughout the city, we will follow and inspect those ramps, and then we will upgrade them if necessary. We also make sure that we address complaints as a priority. Like I mentioned before, we do a lot of in-house work through safety projects, as you all know, since we present those to you guys for input. We do pedestrian ramps through those projects. And then we also have a full prioritization analysis that we're doing based on some geographic variables. So that prioritization analysis involves scoring. We take the results from the survey, which is a condition score. It will tell us what condition the ramp is in. And we combine that with a geographic analysis, which looks at where do people with ambulatory or visual disabilities live, where do seniors live, where are there high pedestrian volumes at transit facilities, and overlay that with our Vision Zero network. So we're looking at a total of 10 variables to decide how to prioritize the rest of the work. So you may be wondering, what about my corner? How do I get information about someone that's coming to me to talk about a specific ramp? There are various ways that you can let DOT know that you'd like work done on a specific ramp. We have an accessibility coordinator, Kumel Arroyo, who you can contact directly. And I want to note that all corners throughout the city will be addressed as part of this program, and so we will get there. We also will have information about our resurfacing schedules on our website that's currently there now, and so you can know that we're following those resurfacing schedules with our pedestrian ramps. And then as our prioritization information becomes available, we will upload that information to our website. So what are we doing now? We currently are in the beginning stages of our survey, and so we're starting to get data back, and we're starting to analyze that data, and we're trying to figure out for next construction season how we can construct more ramps with the new crews that we are getting. And we're currently talking with a bunch of city agencies to make sure everybody's on the same page in terms of how we can upgrade all of our corners to be ADA compliant. And we will have a public reporting process in place for this program on our website and available through DOT. Any questions? Hi.
Hi, Laura Singer from Community Board 15. 2 questions. How was the design chosen for those ramps? I'm sorry. How was the design chosen for those ramps?
For which ramps? The ramps?
Those red,
all
those,
the ramps?
I'm not sure what you call them, the strips that you put
Sure.
in.
So we have a current standard that we can install for the ramps throughout the city if the terrain allows for that standard to be installed. But we're currently in the process of updating those standards to give more design solutions for more trickier locations. And it's our current detail that's applied throughout the city. Are you asking about the specific color of the DWS?
Not even the color, just it's a very, very deep grooved kind of
Yeah,
construction.
go ahead.
There must be a reason for it. I mean, as a pedestrian who's not, ADA, I find them uncomfortable sometimes when I'm standing on them. I just wonder how that design was picked.
Sure.
If I might add, I'm Rosa Rijos. If you were to think about ADA is about grades, right? And it's achieving certain percentages in all directions. So that's what we try to do. In some locations, terrain in itself would prevent you from achieving those grades. And we call that to the maximum extent feasible, and that's the best that we can install because let's say a street is too steep. So then you can achieve something that is flatter than that. So that's how these signs are done,
Okay. I'm just
based on
curious.
grades.
And the second question is, I had put in for a complaint for a petty ramp. It was very hard to do through 311. I have a damaged petty ramp in my district, and it's May, and it still hasn't been repaired. And I do have handicapped people that have written to me that have complained that it hasn't still been repaired. So how do I find out where that is on your, I guess, priority list?
So basically, for complaints, we go and we inspect the complaint location. If you have the complaint case, we can look into it and see, but we go and inspect it. If a temporary solution can be found, like something that we can do in the meantime, sometimes locations have other issues. So if we needed to achieve compliancy, we might have to do relocations or catch basin relocations. And as you know, that for us is capital. We need to go to DDC to do that. But if it's a defect, let's say something where there's like cracked tiles on the detectable warning, then our in-house crews will put asphalt in the meantime. So you should see a temporary solution if achievable until that project goes to capital. But depends on the specific location and what the issues are.
It still says it needs to be inspected by DOT, and this was put in May 10th.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's still saying that it needs to be inspected by DOT, but it was put in May 10th.
If you give us the complaint number, the case number, we will look into it and send you a response.
So appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I did see something on the PowerPoint about the survey. Who did the survey? I mean, how was that distributed? Who did that go to?
We're currently working with Psychomedia Technologies. So they're doing a LiDAR imaging survey for us.
Hi. I was wondering if there's any attempt at coordinating with developers as they build. I represent Community District 2, and so there's a lot of construction going on. And what I see is when the developers redo the sidewalk, it looks beautiful. But the ramps, I don't think they're compliant because a lot of them have a lip from to the street. And so I was just wondering, I actually reported one some time ago. I was just wondering if there's going to be any coordination with developers to give them the design to say this is what proper construction would look like.
Yes, absolutely. We're working with DOB specifically to make sure that we can work together to achieve compliant ramps.
Another thing is that we have developed 2 new permits, 410 and 411, and we have a team on the Highwest side that it's dedicated to pet ramps to work with private utility companies and developers. So we are in the initial stages. We have prepared brochures so they understand what are the requirements. We have presented at the monthly meetings with utility companies, and so we think we're going to get there to make sure that they do that to full compliancy, which is what we want.
So I'll just go one step further. Good morning, my name is Celeste. I'm the district manager for Board 4 in Bushwick. We also have a lot of development in the district right now. And so is this mandatory for new developments when they're doing sidewalk repair? Okay.
Yeah.
And in the event, let's say for whatever reason that coordination isn't there and they install a ramp that's not up to code, what is the next step?
Well, we have a team of inspectors that will go out and check the compliance. If it's not compliant, we're going to ask them to redo it.
Great. And then a follow-up question about the colors. So we've seen some yellow, some red. Are there meanings?
So in the past, we did not have, the ADA has transformed what DWS is. Like at the beginning, they talk about a percent of a contrast, 70% contrast between the base or the sidewalk and the detectable warning. So you might have seen yellows and grays. Along with DDC, we developed a new standard. They're not so new. It's been a couple of months already, where there will be red detectable warning for regular concrete, and in historic districts, you'll see white. And there's a spec for it. So we have developed a spec with DDC's help to make sure that we had either red, safety red, or white.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
And Rosa, thank you so much.